All right, guys, welcome to a tarot reading with me. If it's your first time visiting my channel, let me introduce myself very quickly. I go by Jupiter, Juju. Different people call me different things, but I tend to go by the name Jupiter or Juju. I am an intuitive tarot reader, amongst other things. In this reading today, I am going to be doing a spread that's just going to be talking about things that the spirit guides want this particular client to know. So it's going to be like an open reading. The reason why this card on the side here is out of the deck is this actually fell out of the deck twice while I was shuffling before getting on camera. And so I decided, since it kept popping up, this is definitely a card for my client. So that's the Three of Wands. This is going to be just a freebie, an extra card that she got. And I'm going to be pulling a chakra wisdom card for her. And I may do the Angel Answers Oracle cards for her. Fair warning, guys, my bunny rabbit, my beloved Jupiter, that's his name, he actually got to this deck and he nibbled on a few of those. So I mean, I'm not going to throw away an entire deck just because my bunny rabbit happened to have one or two of the cards for snack. So yeah, that's just fair warning, guys. Yeah, let's just get right into it. So I've got a picture of the client up on my phone. I won't show you her picture, nor will I call her name. The divine knows exactly who this person is, as well as what my intentions are for today. And this client requested, she just pretty much wants like a general reading. All right, so before we get into it, I am going to pull the bonus cards for her. As I said, guys, be mindful that my beloved Jupiter ate one or two of these cards. All right, so let's just shuffle this up as best as we can. Oh, there it is. Aww. There are the two that my beloved ate. I think I'm going to just pull this out just because it's not as attractive. This one I'm going to leave in because it's not eaten up so bad. All right. So we got the seventh chakra, which is our crown chakra. As you guys can see, the crown chakra is really good for things like mental clarity, anything that is related to the way information is processed from our material brain, and then translated into a way that our spirit digests that as information. So seventh chakra, right? Let me look at the card, and I will tell you about some of the things that is associated with. So it says here that the seventh chakra, which is our crown chakra, is located at the top of the head. It is associated with colors like violet. And as you can see, that's why this card is this really pretty violet color. It regulates the brain, the skull, and the pineal gland. And it is said to be associated with grace, beauty, serenity, oneness with all, our divinity, selflessness, realization, understanding, and enlightenment. Okay. So just we're going to just read this off very quickly. It says selflessness. And this is really important because a lot of people are very selfish. And sometimes being in a vibration of selflessness is all that we need to unlock certain things in our world to help us move along and advance. So your crown chakra and selflessness is the card that we got from the chakra wisdom cards for you today. And it says here, I am kind to all. I am aware of everything I do or say affects others. I will help those who seek it. I will seek out ways to be of service. I develop an attitude of looking for ways to help others instead of always waiting to be asked. Everything I do from a spiritual perspective, and I put my heart into it. So that's a really interesting card to get and to also start off your reading with, in addition to this Three of Wands card that we pulled earlier. So this Three of Wands card is just a bonus card. Again, like I said, it's a card that fell out of the deck. It came twice, and so that kind of prompted me that it was in fact a sign from the higher power that this card needs to be included in your reading. I think I'm gonna go ahead and actually pull you an additional card from this, because this is a Angel Answers Oracle deck. Some of these cards are listed as yes and or no. Some of them are listed as maybe. So in the off chance that we get a card that says yes, no, or maybe, I will do an additional pull. Let's go ahead and do this. And we are asking for a card for the client. All right, so the card that we got is Recovery, and I'm actually feeling one more. Just give me a second. Is it the first or the second one? Okay. Okay, so yes to recovery. So they're encouraging, your angels are encouraging you to be in recovery mode. So we'll see if any cards come from the general reading that supports some of the cards that we got up here. And we are going to go right into the reading finally. All right, so we're going to be looking for 4 cards to be pulled from this deck that are a message for the client that is getting this reading today. Feeling to pull those in the back. Let's put that one back to the front. All right, so 4 cards for the client. Go ahead and just give me 4 cards that will be beneficial to this client. What is it that she needs to know? Let's put that to the side. Let's put that to the side. And it's not those 2. This is 4 cards. And I'm guessing there's a particular order these cards need to go in, because I'm feeling like a desire to shuffle that. Okay, so okay. All right, let's move these other cards to the side. And we're going to just begin flipping your cards. First card is the Justice card. Now that is interesting. Very, very interesting. Oh, Lord. What are you guys trying to tell me with this Justice card? That is very interesting. Next card is the Queen of Swords. Okay, so if you take note of the symbolic depictions here, the Justice has its sword drawn, ready to act, obviously in the favor of justice. And then we also have the Queen of Swords, who's holding her sword upright. And I always read this as someone who is in defense mode after having gone through something that is quite tumultuous or hurtful or something negative. we've learned, but we've learned from the standpoint of heartache and pain, but we have learned to be on our guard. And if you look even closer at this specific depiction of the Queen of Swords, in the background, there are literally people's heads on stakes. So a battle, you know what I'm saying? And this is interesting. So the Queen of Swords is standing tall after going through a treacherous battle. The reason why I find that interesting is because one of the cards that we got for you is the recovery card. To me, this is not so far off from having some sort of meaning, you know, because again, you know, heads on stakes, the queen had to do something, something happened. She's learned, but she's in defense mode as opposed to being in a mode that is receptive. It is more so survival mode, trauma responses. But again, you know, your angels are suggesting or hoping that you would recover from whatever it is that you have encountered or lost. So we're going to flip this next card. Page of Swords, my dear. There's a lot of swords energy on this spread. That is also very interesting. Very, very interesting. Lots of swords so far. And let's flip to see what the last card is. The Ace of Coins. What is interesting is this is one of the other cards that actually fell out of the deck when this one fell out of the deck. But this card only fell once. This one fell out twice during shuffling. So the fact that it showed up on your spread again, I feel like that means that it was supposed to have come on the spread for you. So we can't ignore that. Alrighty, so starting right off, let's talk about the Justice card. Justice is, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Here. It is the only major arcana card on the spread right now, which means this card will hold the most weight of any other card that I read on today. So major arcana cards tend to have, like I said, or hold the most weight for a reading. Give me 1 second. Here is what I have to do. I need to use this. Actually voice note this to the client as well. So, alrighty. So, guys, bear with me. I am doing both a video and a voice note for this client, just because videos take longer to upload. But I wanted to record this on video today. Just want to get some more practice in putting my work out there. Again, during this tarot reading, no names will be called, no photos will be shown, so you can rest assured that your identity will remain a secret. So, as you can see so far, what we've got going on with this spread is we've pulled more than 4 cards. We've got an additional 4 cards. So it turned out to be like an 8-card spread reading for you. And like I said, this is going to be available on video as well, but video will take a while to be uploaded. So we're going to start off with the first card, which is the Justice card. The Justice card is a major arcana card. What that means is it holds the heaviest weight in terms of energy for the entire spread for you. So with this holding the most weight, every other card that we get on this spread is going to be attached or influenced by this Justice card. So starting off, let me give you some connotations for the Justice card. Anytime we see a Justice card show up on a spread, it has to do with things like cause and effect, being in an attitude of accountability, being fair, being honest, valuing truth, having objectivity, pretty much being able to be, I want to say, a judge. That is typically what I associate with the Justice card. So there are a couple of signs that is associated with the Justice card on the astrology side of it, but we won't get too much into that. What I think is really significant though is on your entire spread, we've got about three cards that are of a either sword representation or that are actual swords, which means they carry the energy of air and communication and, you know, intellect, being able to discern the truth. So it's a very interesting fact that we've gotten so much of that energy on this spread for you. So let's again talk a little bit more about the Justice card. Again, whenever we see the Justice card, we know that there is something to do with being objective. There's also something to do with giving what has been earned in terms of energy. So when we see the Justice card, there are a couple of ways we can look at this and read this. Because your reading is a general reading, there is no question. There is only what do our spirit guides want for you to know, and what messages do they have for you based off of the cards that I pull. So whenever I see the Justice card show up on a spread, I know that it either means justice is going to be served to you, as in something or someone has done something that they shouldn't have, and you are in a position where you need to be repaid for your, you know, just your kindness, or for being on the receiving end of something that you should not have been on the receiving end of. However, sometimes the Justice card can also mean that you need to be a little bit more accountable to your contribution to certain things. So I'm not quite sure yet what side of the coin this Justice card is falling on, but just based off of the fact that we got from our Angel Oracle deck, this recovery card, a card talking about you going into recovery mode. I just got nails on, so I can't even lift the card. Yeah, it's a card that talks about you recovering from something, as well as the Queen of Swords, because that's another card that we pulled for you on this spread. It kind of makes me feel like there is, in fact, a period of justice that is going to be underway for your benefit, as in maybe people or someone or a situation happened and it happened unfairly, but the Justice card shows up to say that if you are in the wrong, or sorry, if you are in the right, it will definitely get to those who have wronged you. But if you in fact are in the wrong, it's also going to balance that energy out from a cause and effect perspective. But the Justice card does not come with impartiality, as in it's not going to be nice to you if you have not earned it, or it's in fact it's not even about niceness. When we see the Justice card, all the Justice card cares about is balancing energies, so checks and balances. So this Justice card comes to tell us that something is going to be rectified in your life. Again, I truly believe, because we got this recovery card, that it is something in your favor. I don't see why else the decks or the cards would be telling me, you know, that you should recover. And this was affirmed with a yes card. So justice is going to be served. For those that wronged you, they're going to get theirs. And that's the direction that I'm feeling that, you know, this card is taking us in. One other thing I'd like to point out, if it is that you were in the wrong for something, the Justice card coming is going to balance the energy, but not in the sense to say, you know, destruction, negativity, or anything like that. Literally, sometimes the Justice card shows up to balance energy so that our karma can be played out and we can move on and our blessings can begin to come to us, because it's not personal with the Justice card. So let's move on to the next. All right, so the next card that we got on your spread is the Queen of Swords. Oftentimes when we see the Queen of Swords card, again, it has to do with someone that may have integrity, somebody that has principles, someone who has learned from their past. But, there is also this energy of being a bit too standoffish, too bitter, too intellectual, or not emotional enough. You do things from the perspective of truth at any cost. And sometimes when we are that way, or we have that personality, whereas we're trying to get to the truth, or we don't care about the smaller details, there are no shades of gray. Things are either black or white. Sometimes when we have that energy, even though, the intent is pure and noble, many people can be off-putted or find that they are on the receiving end of the Queen's very sharp sword. Again, you see in the background on this card that it appears to be people's heads on stakes. And they go on for a very long distance behind this Queen. We just see like a bunch of heads being pierced with stakes. So severe truth, like just being very at all costs. It is what it is, and I'm willing to do whatever I need to do in order to get to the truth of things. I don't really care about who I hurt in the process. And this is very interesting because we started off this reading with the Justice card. Now, I would say that because this Queen of Swords showed up after the Justice card, and even though we got the recovery, I would say that you still need to be a little bit careful about how you communicate or how you go about, an ends to a mean or a means to an end. That thing where we do things, but we don't care who is trampled in the process. And sometimes we feel justified in our actions. We feel justified in doing whatever we do or whatever we did because of what others have done to us. We become victims of circumstance. Sometimes we become monsters, and then we look at people and ask them how they can be afraid of what we've turned into when they're the reasons we've turned into this thing. But I've learned, and especially so because this Justice card has shown up, that two wrongs don't make it right. Even if people have done things to you that have caused you to become a bit bristly around the edges or just very direct to the point whereas, we don't consider emotions. We don't marry emotions with logic. We just kind of do whatever we see fit based off of our own perception of truth. That can also be a little bit harmful to others. And sometimes we have to be able to balance our emotions with logic. It's okay to, want to protect yourself from feeling pain or being betrayed or anything like that. That stuff is fine. But sometimes, we can't be too left field to the point where it is, creating energy that causes harm to others, which ultimately in the long run is going to actually hurt you. So yeah, I would say some key phrases from this is just how can you face the truth about situations, even if they're painful, without becoming a scorned woman, without retaliating, without, like, the Justice card specifically is more of like one of those things where it's like, it's not for you to worry about. Justice will prevail. You don't have to get your sword dirty, or you don't have to get your hands dirty. Let your mind roam free. But in order to be able to let your mind roam free, you have to kind of trust that justice will prevail. And let me say this, or let me translate this in a more, I want to say, from a more Christian perspective. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. The Justice card to me represents the hand of God coming to people and for people that have harmed us, and have harmed us in a sense that is so unfair that the universe or God has to step in. So again, with this Queen of Swords, I will say, please balance your emotions with your logic. I really feel like it's not so much the logic side that has an issue. I really feel more so that perhaps your guard is up, and in that having your guard up, maybe it threw you off balance just a little bit. So let's move on to the next card that came up in the spread for you, and we're going to see how this card interacts with the other two cards that we have pulled for you already. All right, so the next card that we got for you was the Page of Swords. So I kind of really like the energy of the Page of Swords. And, you know, you can even see from this card that there is a beautiful young lady who is ready to take the world on by storm. She's full of this like luster for life. She's full of this inquisitive, adventurous energy. And that is exactly what the Page of Swords represents. It's a more balanced approach to life, more so seeing life as a journey as opposed to just this big destination that we're trying to get to. I feel as though with this Page of Swords coming right after the Queen of Swords and the Justice cards, I feel like this is asking you to return to a place of innocence. But, you know, look at it here. This character still has a sword in hand. They're still armed with a sword. So it doesn't mean to be completely naive, or in fact, not to be naive at all. I kind of feel like it's just saying to be, you know, curious and to look at life from the perspective that anything is possible, and that all the things that you dream for, hope for, wish for can come to pass. But in order to do that, you know, you got to release some of this tension that was found in the Queen of Swords card, where it's so imbalanced. It's just more about cutting out those that are not there for you, not necessarily being open enough to receive the joys that life has to offer us. Because in reality, you know, life really is a journey, and there's so much adventure to be withheld. So yeah, I feel like the Page of Swords is just telling you to be energetic, to be open, to, you know, be strong, but also be flexible. I think that's the best way for me to describe this Page of Swords. Because again, it's not someone that is naive. It's not asking you to be naive, but it is asking you to soften up a little bit, because in that softening up, you will begin to experience more blessings, more joys, more adventure. You know, the energy on the Queen of Swords makes it very difficult for things and people to approach you, you know? But if we tap more into this Page of Swords energy, you know, it is not completely open, but it's not so closed up that nothing and no one can approach you, and nothing or no one can bless you. So Page of Swords, you know, think about someone that is witty, a quick thinker, someone that's chatty and excited about life, someone that is ready to go on adventures. That's how I see this Page of Swords energy. And again, because this is a general reading, I can't really, there is no question asked. All this is the deck saying, hey, these are the things we either want you to pay attention to, let go of, or embody. That's all we can get from these, because it's a very general reading. So let's move on to the final card. Okay, so last but certainly not least, let's pull this card up. We got the Ace of Coins, which is also known as the Ace of Pentacles. So I'll give you a couple of words that are associated with the Ace of Coins, aka the Ace of Pentacles card. This card is often seen as an opportunity that comes from the gods. So we see this as opportunity, as gifts, as a prize, something like abundance, the ability to manifest, prosperity. Again, because it is related to coins or pentacles, we associate this with money. So I look at this Ace of Pentacles coming as one of the anchor cards for this reading. And when I say anchor, it is the card that ends the reading, although I have one more card to read off for you. This Ace of Coins coming as one of our anchor cards tells me that the cards in between the first card we pulled for you, which was Justice, and the Ace of Coins are a necessary part of or steps that you need to take in order to get to a place where you are actually operating in the energy of the Ace of Coins. So let me try and make the Ace of Coins a bit more relative for you, okay? So think blessings, think abundance, think gifts that are given from angelic or celestial beings, think gift from God, think gift from the Holy Spirit. The reason why this is super important is because sometimes we are blessed with gifts that were given to us by humans, all right? Or things that we do for ourselves. The Ace of Coins, or the Ace of Pentacles as it's also called, it is a gift from the divine, which means we ourselves could not have done this for ourselves. We could not have made whatever is associated with these blessings come to pass. At least we lined up to what, in this case, your Ace of Coins is saying that you need to release. You need to let your guard down a bit more. You need to be more balanced in the logic versus emotions approach. And you need to approach life from an adventurous, things are amazing, I'm so excited, sort of perspective. So this Ace of Coins will tell you also to look for the opportunities of blessings, because they are there for you. And there are things that you do not see as of yet that will become available to you. And those things will only come, again, once you adjust this Queen of Swords energy, bring it down to a Page of Swords, and then things like I said, the abundance that exists in the Ace of Coins, and the fact that it comes from a higher power for us, that is going to be waiting for you. So Ace of Coins also tells you shouldn't have to worry about money. You shouldn't have to worry about things manifesting. The things that you want to come will come. I do believe, though, that it is going to require you to have a moment where you are in recovery mode, where you're out of the battlefield, where you are not having to deal with people that break you, if that makes sense. Recovery is going to be important for you as well. So I don't want to ignore this, because the recovery card came on your spread also. And finally, we're going to go ahead and read the last card for you. So just 1 second. Okay, so the last card that we got for you, which was the card that fell out of the deck when I was shuffling earlier, was or is the Three of Wands. So what is significant about this Three of Wands card for me is it is a card that actually shows someone that has been doing the work, has been planning, has been making or taking strides to execute on their goals. This is someone who has built up a degree of momentum, and we can see that especially so in this depiction, because there is a young lady who is moving with quite a bit of speed, but she's also extremely focused. She's climbing up a ladder. And we know that the wands represent things like manifestation of creative projects, material possessions that we ourselves create. So it's all about creation on the wands energy. So a few words that I would associate with the Three of Wands card is going to be expansion, progress, building momentum, having a long-term vision for your life, being stable finally. So the Three of Wands will ask you to celebrate. So the final anchor for this reading, is asking you to celebrate. You've achieved some things so far. You have a certain degree of momentum build up. Don't be distracted. Don't look back, don't look down, don't look left, don't look right. Just stay focused on your bullseye. Stay focused on your goal, because that is what's going to take you to the next level. So another thing that the Three of Wands would ask us to do is to reflect on the narrative that we have, or the narrative that we speak to ourselves about our lives. What do you say to yourself about your situations? Are you victorious in your narrative about yourself, or are you a victim in your narrative about yourself? So the Three of Wands would tell you to be mindful of the things that you tell yourself, the stories that you tell yourself. If you believe that you are successful, you need to keep that. If, however, you see yourself as being just shy of your goals, not quite enough, missing a few components that you think would make your life the way that you really, really want it to be, if it is that you are telling yourself that you are lacking things, that is going to create the energy before you that kind of perpetuates that lack energy. So you're building a foundation, not just from a materialistic perspective. I also see this as building a foundation from the things that you tell yourself, your internal story. So make sure that foundation is a very solid one, where you repeatedly say to yourself that I am victorious, I am successful, the path before me is clear, I gain wisdom through every experience that I have. So certain affirmations would be very helpful for you at this time. Let's see what else this Three of Wands represent. Also, Three of Wands represents productivity, but that kind of, I guess, follows suit with me saying expansion. Expanding on your goals, etc., etc. So it's a pretty good card to get. Overall, though, I want to say that the reading pretty much just talks about balancing your energy and not worrying about things like money. And specifically, so I just love the fact that we got this Justice card. Justice will prevail. Justice will seek who it needs to seek and level the playing field. So again, I want to just touch on justice one more time. If it is that you have done some things where you knew you were not in the right, just know that justice will also fix that energy from a karmatic perspective. I don't like people to be afraid of justice, because justice to me is also merciful. Justice typically only shows up after something grave has happened. It's the energy is so heavy, or what has transpired is so, it was so intense, justice had to intervene. So if it is that you are, not exactly forthright or forthcoming with some things, justice is going to ask you to be accountable. It wants you to be accountable to what you are contributing to your story, to your life, and to the lives of those that are attached to you. If you find that you cannot be fair, truthful, or forthcoming with a person or persons or a scenario, the best thing to do is to excuse yourself from whatever that scenario is until you've had an opportunity to find your true north again. It is always going to be in your favor to act in honesty and fairness and objectivity. So that's what I see with that card. Those group of cards coming together, recovery, and it could also mean the recovery card coming could also mean that you are in recovery mode, which is excellent, because that would also make sense for these other cards that I have on this spread, which means that you would have already been through some stuff. You're now moving on to a better space. Things will begin to work out in your favor. So recovery is good. And last but not least, you got this crown chakra card that talked about selflessness. So selflessness is a good thing, and it actually is a good energy to get into, obviously within balance. Ain't nobody wants to see you out here, oh, I gave so much, I have nothing left. That's not wisdom. You still have to be selfless within balance and in boundary of things that will not be to your detriment. So these are all okay cards to get. I'm very happy nothing negative showed up on your spread. That means out of everything that is going on with you right now, the only thing that the spirits thought to bring to your attention was for you to keep momentum. And that's this Three of Wands. They're asking you to keep momentum, keep going. Things are going to break. Things may have already broken in terms of the breakthrough for you. And I actually think that is the case. And if it is the case that you have, in fact, gotten this breakthrough, let's move this. The blessings will follow right after. You know what I'm saying? You will recover. Whatever was lost, you will get it back, and you will get it back even more than it was before because it's going to be blessed. So all of those are good cards. And this, my dear, is going to end your tarot reading with me. Thank you so much for choosing me. Light and love to you always. And until the next one.